Welcome in, welcome in. There's a little technical glitch on my first live, but now the chat is enabled. Waiting for people to get settled in. What is this? Something on my blazer, whatever. Go like that. There we go. If you're new here, we talk about creativity. I typically like to just engage with my community, see what questions come up. In general, my channel is about creative maturity, giving people more tools to access their creativity, tools that I find that we don't often talk about, because everything that I refer to in my work comes from my survey of old wisdom. All these books on my shelf are things that to me have helped me in my creative process beyond whatever is popular in the moment in like the cultural zeitgeist. How you doing? Can you guys do me a favor and comment in the chat if you're able to? I just want to make sure it works. Let me see. Thank you for the likes. Yeah, so if you're new here and if you have a question, oh, hey, Chance. Thank you so much for being here. If you have questions about your creativity, now is the time. It's a Q&A, so just let me know what questions you have or introduce the group to what your art is about, if I can help. Let me know. I usually, when I've done lives on Instagram before, but or TikTok, I like this. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kev. Is it Kit? No, it's not. Kevius? I've done TikTok lives, and I think I'm gonna like the YouTube format a little bit better. But in general, I like to talk about creativity and give people unlikely tools. One of the things that kind of pains me the most about just, being alive is how disempowered artists feel, and something that Thank you, Keith, for that question. Something that really upsets me, frankly, is seeing my peers be so disempowered. Like every time there's a there's friction on the creative process, in the path, whatever, in the journey of art, which is a very difficult journey. People feel that there's something wrong with them. They feel like they're broken. And I'm here to kind of, I don't know, I always say on my content, on my lives, in my workshops, et cetera, in my classroom, I have a Discord community and all of that. I always say that creativity is spiritual. It's more germane to who we are as artists than we think it is. It's more like blinking. It's more like breathing than we think. Let me see. What do you do when you can't stop creating? What do you do when you can't stop creating? This is a question that I took up in one of my latest videos, a little bit, videos on YouTube called Body of Work. I think it's the most recent one I posted. The first way I'd like to respond to this is, what do you do when you can't stop creating? One, I always like to remind people, please, with all your questions, try not to think that whatever you're going through is wrong or bad, or it means you're broken. Not to assume that that's what you're saying, but yeah, can you check in with yourself? That the artist, I say, in this kind of endeavor to be mature as an artist, to grow old with your art form, to grow old with your identity as an artist, is about learning how to accept what are the raw materials of the creative process. And so there's one question: what do you do when you can't stop creating? And something that I've been exploring personally is, how do I say this? The creative process needs to be balanced by a practice within the body. And I think, there's probably very likely that a lot of people are trying to create, trying to get unstuck, and also finding perhaps that their spirituality is a little stuck. And concurrent to that, perhaps finding that their body practice, their movement practice. Attention to the body is a little stuck, or it's a little disjointed, fragmented, alienated away from the creative process. That body work, body practice, fitness, etc., is completely separate from their creativity, as is a body practice separate from their spiritual journey, as is a spiritual journey separate from their creativity. This kind of earthly trinity, if you will, of body, art, and spirit is a pillar of my work. Handling big doses of inspiration. I'm someone like you. Like for me, there is no shortage of creative ideas. Tending to them all is fine, and it's our responsibility. But our body contains a technology, has the capacity to help us manage our creativity in ways that, like the productivity gurus, organization gurus kind of don't talk about. That your body has the capacity to triage, to help you kind of naturally understand what's a priority and what isn't, to understand when it's time to edit, to understand when it's time to be forward facing, to be audience facing, when it's time to publish, when it's time to go live, etc., when it's time to edit. Your body has that capacity, I would say. And so I always like to say that if your creativity does not also have a companion body practice that includes meditation, eating the right food, fitness, think about that. More so, again, than taking care of the body is about tending to your physique or a vanity goal, which I have plenty of those. Everybody wants to look good in a bathing suit by the time summer hits. More than tending to the body to stay healthy, to heal the nervous system, stuff like this. Actually lend your intention with your body work to the project of creativity. Set that intention. Like, the reason I'm going to the gym, the reason I'm eating well, the reason I'm staying hydrated is not because necessarily my body needs water. Of course, that's part of it. But there is a elevated, more dignified manner of identifying with ourselves that the spiritual texts say is about being creative, that God is the creator. And we are here to experience, pursue, understand, embody our godliness, to be like God. That's what all the spiritual texts say and all the traditions. So can you blend, really set and hold an intention consciously with your body, whatever it is, meditation, fitness, and blend that with your creative intention? And I find that when I have a lot of creative ideas, meditating helps. And then again, to echo how I started answering this question, is that there's less of, as long as we're not thinking that just because I have many ideas, does that not mean that doesn't mean that you're broken in some way, or that a lot of people think that they have multi-interests. They're painters, but they also like film. They also like botany, whatever. They have all these interests. They're parents at the same time. They're entrepreneurs. They like space, science, nerd shit, whatever it is. Trust the engine of your creativity, which is your intuition. It's your intuition and the natural sensitivity, tendency for artists to care for other people. That the artist is here not only to express themselves and to get something off the page, onto the page, but an artist is here to help other people understand what it feels like to be alive in some capacity, what a sunset looks like, what a heartbreak feels like, etc. Trust that that process is unfolding in the way that it ought to, in some way, and that our various interests develop at different times. Let me see what else is coming through. Thank you for your questions and comments. Feel free to introduce yourselves. Let the chat know what kind of artist you are. Maybe you make a friend. You never know. I've had people on lives find collaborators. I always like to encourage people to lean into the community. We all feel alienated and lonely for good reason, but try to take a courageous gesture forward, not just towards me, but towards other people. But okay, other questions. What does it mean when you have Writer's block for me, I don't know if it's a base comparison. I haven't gotten over that liminality hump and I'm still grieving. Writer's block. Let's talk about writer's block or creative block in general. Thank you for your question. Writer's block. And you also mentioned still grieving. Again, something that I advocate for is creative maturity. What does that mean? How do we pursue that? How do we massage that, matriculate? One, it's an idea that I think a lot of people fail to realize. And the way that might be a little bit easier to understand, like if we think about romantic, dating. We do not like and pursue and date the same people that we liked when we were in fifth grade. Now that we're adults, we've learned, things have happened. You had an experience, you had some life happen to you. There's the conditions of your life change and you learn from it and you incorporate that into your experience dating, into your preferences, into your desires, into your boundaries, etc. It's things that you're looking for, people that you're attracted to. Creativity needs to undergo that same kind of reflection and intentional maturity. So, in the area of writer's block, I don't know your specific situation or what you're writing about, but what you did mention, at least, is something that I talked about in another video that I talked about, liminality, which is this suspended middle stage in the soul's journey, where you are no longer who you used to be, not yet who you will be. One becomes liminal. Whether you're an artist or not, every human being undergoes this experience. It's inevitable, absolutely. One undergoes and enters into this liminal stage, this in-between stage in their life. Again, no longer who you were, not yet who you will be. You're kind of sitting in the middle of something. What you're also sitting in the middle of is a lot of life change. Life has changed. And all of us have experienced some things at the same time. We all experienced the pandemic at the same time. A lot of us have the experience of grief, heartbreak, etc. So a lot of creative people think that their creative output, that the reason that they write, why they write, what they write about, when they write, what their writing process is like, for example. A lot of people think that shouldn't change. Or rather, if the fact that they're blocked, the fact that something isn't getting onto the page, they think that they are blocked. Again, it's this idea, you think that something's wrong with you. I have a writer's block. How shameful of us it's a very shameful way of thinking about ourselves. Again, if creativity comes from God and God is the creator, that means that we are always creative. Not blocked at all. Not even for a second. Not for 1 second. I'm not blocked when I sleep. I'm not blocked when they put me 6 feet in the ground. We know that because we still think of Shakespeare as an artist. He died 500 years ago, 600 years ago. So how to overcome a writer's block, as you're asking, my answer is a little bit different than what other people say. It's not about accessing flow state and doing something else. Can you, as an artist who is on a journey to take themselves seriously and to be obedient to your craft, which is what you feel. That's why you're asking the question. You're being earnest and obedient to this desire in you to write more and to write better. I would say, can you survey what has changed in your life? What have you gone through? What have you learned from life? Because being an artist is not a vocation exclusively. It is today because rent is due, things are painful, life is hard, and you want to prove to your parent, to your community, to yourself, to your landlord that you can sustain yourself, that you're worthy. But again, you already are worthy. It's beyond worth. It's in the same way that a bird is oriented towards flight always. A human always creates and is always creative and is always oriented towards that. So how to get out of a writer's block? Can you intentionally see that and have the courage and the compassion to tell yourself that the reason I'm blocked is not because there's something wrong with me, but because art itself is demanding that I shift based on what I've experienced. And I'm here as an artist. I was born with the capacity to create because I am programmed to reflect on what I've gone through and put it into some sort of souvenir that we call art. a souvenir of what I've experienced that connects my experience to the universal experience. Ask yourself, what have I learned? You said you were grieving. Maybe you're right. Your writing needs to reflect that. Needs to be, maybe you don't need to write about grief necessarily, but can you honor the changes that you have gone through and let that shift your process in the same way that a bird that flies around in the summer or on a spring day is, their process is a little bit different than when they fly when it's raining outside. Doing that again requires us to understand and accept that art is a responsibility, that art is a tradition more than it is a vocation. And sometimes, often, art itself, the entity of art, capital A art, for which there used to be temples erected back in the day, that there is a high vision, there is a purpose, there is a reason for you to be of being an artist. And it has to do with service. The reason you're an artist is not to make sense of what you've gone through. The reason you are an artist is because you were born with the capacity to interrogate what you've been through. But the purpose of being an artist is to connect other people with the universe and to remind them what their universal experience is, that art is a technology of making God and his unconditional love accessible. So sometimes the vision, the purpose, the highest vision and intention of your art, which has nothing to do with how you feel, I argue, needs to change. When I was a child, I wanted to be a singer because I loved singing. But now I'm almost 40 years old. I've been to funerals, more funerals than I can count. There was a global pandemic. They're throwing people in cages. There's wars. My assignment as an artist has changed over time. So how do you get out of a writer's block? Allow the reason you're writing, what you're writing, and who you're reaching to change. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I don't know how the algorithm works, but if likes help, I would appreciate some likes. Welcome in if you're new. Thank you for being here. It really means a lot. Brainless activity. Congratulations. Take care of your bodies, guys. Taking care of your body will help you see that there's nothing wrong with you. You don't have a fear of being seen. I just finished this. This is in my body of work YouTube video that I posted most recently. I was on this wellness retreat and I brought my creativity as the intention for this wellness. The wellness retreat was about meditation, fascia work, core work, Pilates, neural work, really deep kind of Yoda-like Jedi samurai level wellness, not just a yoga retreat. It was very sophisticated stuff, off the beaten path modalities. And the practitioner there was telling us, for example, that your joints, just as one element of the body, joints have processors and receptors inside them. When our joints are stiff, that means that oftentimes that the receptors are blocked. And the receptors are designed to more or less signal inside the body, signals that answer the question, am I safe? The joints help us answer the question, am I safe? So those of us who think they have a fear of being seen, now you're going to, with the common discourse, the mind answering and treating ourselves only at the level of the mind, which is subject to fear in the past more than it is courage in the future, because the mind cannot deal with the future. We don't have that capacity at all as human beings. It's not within our capacity at all to adequately and accurately assess the future. We don't have that capacity. We're limited as a species in that capacity, bound by time, the limitations of time. But you can signal you can move your body, open up your joints, and doing that opens up the receptors and the signaling process that tells your body, okay, yes, I'm safe. Doing joint work can help you feel more courageous to put your work out there, to launch your Patreon, to make the content, to publish that essay, to ask someone for feedback, to create content, whatever it is. I'm here to preserve and pass down the wisdom that gives humanity a way forward. Yes, that is a high vision of your art. We're always creative. How can we stay in the creative act when you're facing survival? You're always in the creative act. You're always in the creative act. Find me. Do you know how much art is out there that is about being in survival? What? Find me an artist that doesn't feel in survival. All of us are traumatized by those rich, privileged students in our high schools and middle schools that seem to have every single thing handed to them. We're traumatized by that. Imprinted were we in childhood, seeing the rare few who had parents support every single aspect of their creativity. Most of us don't come from that. Most of us, the majority of the people on the planet, there's 8 billion of us right now. The majority, the overwhelming majority of us did not come from that. In fact, the people who have perfectly supportive parents, those are almost statistically non-viable outliers. Most of the art created was about people who were struggling with something. And I would wager that the question, how do I stay in the creative act despite being in survival? One, your survival is that is not movable sometimes. The rent is due, life is hard, etc. People are cruel. But in my experience, settling into this identity as an artist that was given to me and granted to me by God the Creator, which is echoed, not just, this is not my, and that's not my intention. That's not my, what is that stupid shit people do? It's not my affirmation. This is something that every spiritual, every sacred text talks about, every last one. You're creative right now because God is the creator and human beings were created in God's image. That's Christian language, but if you read in the Hindu tradition, the foundational text is the Bhagavad Gita. That text, which is essentially the highest script, sacred text like the Bible. The Bhagavad Gita is quite literally a dialogue between a student and creativity itself. That's the foundational text of the religion. It's a dialogue between a student and creativity itself, Lord Krishna. How do you stay in creative act while you're in survival? You're doing it now. No one can take it from you. You're creative when you sleep. You're creative when it rains outside. This idea that we're not creative just because we don't have something to show the world is absurd. It's absurd. Now, does that help you feel better about the fact that you haven't created in a long time? Maybe not. But you're creative even though you're at your day job. And I used to work in finance before I was able to sustain myself just from all this stuff. And my life changed when I realized I'm an artist now. And I looked at every conversation the way an artist ought to. I learned from I worked in finance. It has nothing to do with being an opera singer at all. Or being a writer or doing this David Goggins, Joan of Arc, Rick Rubin stuff that I do online. It's nothing to do with it, working in finance, working for a venture capitalist. I loved my job. But as an artist, then I suddenly started to learn. I'm learning things about life through my creative lens while I'm at work. Seeing how the finance bros deal with rejection and the tension that people are in, the way that the hardworking vice president at my company was mitigating relationships and paying the bills. This is all something that I can take in and observe and be sensitive to as an artist. And that happens when you see yourself as an artist. No, it is unconditional. You do not have to have a well-liked Substack or a best-selling book to call yourself an artist. And the reason you're stuck, likely, not you, but some of us, is because we're waiting, as we did in childhood, for someone to give us approval, to earn our right to call ourselves artists. Wisdom on how to become more authentic, one's real self when it comes to art. Sure, I don't know what a fake self is. It's again, forgive me if I misunderstand, but when I read people's questions, there's so much shame inside their questions. How can it be more authentic? Are you not authentic, or is that truism nonsense that you heard on the internet 4 years ago in a quick quotable when you were scrolling in the pandemic? Now you can't get it out of your mind. I'm not here to shame you, but it's a little bit like, what do you mean authentic? What do you mean? Are you inauthentic right now? Are you being inauthentic? Is not struggling to find your voice an authentic experience? Is being afraid to truly say how you feel, is that not an authentic experience? Is lying an inauthentic experience? No, that's normal. One's real self when it comes to art. But how to find the question, I think, could be answered from the lens of how to find your creative voice. Experimentation. Experimentation. You have to try and fail. You have to set yourself on a course to collect as many L's as you possibly can. Write a draft, read it, and be like, was that it? No. Write a draft, publish it, think this is it, and then 6 months later, you realize, fuck, that wasn't it. That you don't have to be right before you start, and you never will be, because life constantly changes. That this universe is expanding exponentially through time and space constantly. And so are we. And guys, that's the grace. The grace is that you never stick the landing. You never stick it, not 100%. The day that you stick the landing, you're going to be sad because there's nothing left to tinker with. There's nothing more to explore within yourself. There's nothing to reflect on. And that's what a human being is designed to do, is designed to do. But trying to answer your question a little bit more specifically, the advice that I often refer to in my work is something that I heard a lot from James Baldwin. James Baldwin has this speech that I recommend. It's on YouTube. It's free. It's called The Artist's Struggle for Integrity. And he says that at some point, an artist becomes bullwhipped, corralled into becoming an artist to make sense of something that happened to them. And you think that's why you become an artist, to make sense of whatever's happening to you, to explain what's happening to you, to feel deeply what you felt. You think that's why you're an artist, because you're deeply feeling. You end up writing about your heartbreak, what your mom went through, what it feels like to be a Black person, what it feels like to be Palestinian, whatever it is. You think you're here to make sense of what's happening to you. But what you realize, with more time, with more obedience, with more responsibility taken on, what you find is that you're not here to make sense of what happened to you. You're here to make sense, connect with to use what happened to you to connect with other people. And so understanding, if it's in my understanding what your authentic voice is, what your authentic self is almost a given, because it's always authentic. The objective is truly to connect your experience with an authentic universal experience. So am I writing about in my example, am I writing about my grief authentically? Matters less. And it's not about morality. I'm not policing why you do it, but I'm saying the technology of being an artist, what is actually required to be successful at art, is not, okay, how do I answer this myself authentically? Because you already are unconditionally loved. But writing successfully about grief happens when I consider intentionally not just my grief, but our grief. How does my experience line up to the universal experience? Or how does it vary? Or how does it differ? What more nuance, what more shade can I offer to the experience of grief? grief is a big scroll. I'm just adding my name to the bottom of it. Like, oh yeah, I've done that. And this is what it felt like. Giving other people the opportunity to experience their grief, held carefully, tenderly, inside of the home that is your body of work. Man, I love sunsets. Okay, and the painter paints a sunset, and then the audience gets to experience their love of a sunset through your writing. An audience, perhaps someone in a gallery, is not going to say, "Oh, I love," maybe the greats. We do that. "Oh, I love how this person paints a sunset." That's not why we go to the museum. I go to the museum because I need to see a sunset for myself. Does that make sense? Lily, how are you? Thank you, Marlon. Is creativity only given value by others? Creativity is not given the value. I mean, in some ways, yes. You know, there's cultural value, there's commodity, the commodification of art. How much is this worth? How much can we sell it for? No, but the value of art is held, and I mean, in every scripture, again, every spiritual tradition says that only God is the judge. The experience, for the most part, if we touch grass for a second, frankly, can a human being give value to art if we look at what art really is, which is an expression of the human experience? No, no. Art has been here for billions of years. The tradition of being an artist has been around for longer than our little 80-year-old lives. It's been here for millennia. And we're just giving it a shot for a few years. It's a blink of an eye relative to space-time. The value is inherent. What you're looking for is not value to be given or to be known or named. What I wager is that what everyone is really looking for is just to be engaged. I just want to be engaged, and I want to be obedient. Even if I create 30 consecutive days of the worst work I've ever created, open up a journal, a file on your computer that says shitty first drafts, and every day write something awful, you'll be more proud of yourself. You'll feel more like an artist having completed 30 days of writing terrible drafts than you would tinkering and waiting 7 years before you write something that is good. That an artist's sense of validation comes from being engaged and obedient and connected to the audience. That's what you're longing for. You're not longing for validation. You're longing to feel the connection that your body has the capacity to feel beyond time and space. I can feel people connecting to my work, even though I've never met them. I don't know any of you. But I am confident because I know that someone out there has connected with it, or that I gave it my best, inclusive of, damn, I gave it my best and it was awful. Human connection is my most critical fear. How do I break the wall that keeps me from fluid connection? Human connection is my it's so this is an interest this is a good question that I hear a lot. Maybe not specifically, but the shape of it, the equation of it. I have fear, and it's a block, and so everyone has a different fear, and it blocks them in different ways, and they in their minds they relate to it as if it's my block, my fear, I'm unique. Not that you're not special, that's not what I mean, but they feel really isolated and they feel different because whatever block they can name. I have a fear of human connection. Not that that fear in you isn't something that your body feels is very powerful and strong, but the fear of human connection requires a deeper inquiry. That the fear of human connection isn't quite honest enough if you want to get over it. Fear of human connection, not so much. But a fear of the fear is what happens after you connect to people. That's the thing that you're anticipating. And frankly, assuming that whatever happens when you connect will be bad. What if human connection makes you feel better? People have a fear of being seen. What if being seen makes you feel better? All these stupid ass Instagram truisms from the internet that have nothing to do with what is durable in the wisdom of our species, what's written in the cave paintings, what's been echoed by all the shamans. Taking I have a fear of being seen to it. I have a fear of being perceived to a shaman would be a laughable experience. Like, what do you mean? A fear of human connection, fear of vulnerability, a fear of being seen, fear of being perceived, fear of being judged. It's just vulnerability. And vulnerability is a good thing. That you can feel what it feels like to be in it with other human beings who are just as terrified as you, just as defensive as you, getting their shit rocked by grief, by all sorts of things, heartbreak. But the question, how to get over it, it's not a fear of human connection. And then how do I get over fear? What are you afraid of happening when the human connection happens? Or some aspect of you that's you don't want to see. This answers the question that somebody asked earlier about shadow work. What I'm describing is shadow work. It's not a fear of connection. It's not a fear of being seen. What do you have a fear? What do you afraid will be seen? What is it? What aspect are you afraid of connecting on? Is it, I don't want to connect with people because they're going to see this aspect of myself. They're going to know me. They're going to see some aspect of who I am. I'm going to be judged as weak. I'm going to get bullied. And then ask yourself, I have a fear of being seen as mediocre, a fear of being bullied, of being hurt, being judged. Well, not being judged is not specific enough, of being seen as inarticulate. Ask yourself, is it really, are those things, being mediocre, being seen as weak? Is there anything wrong with being weak? Truly, is there anything wrong with being mediocre? If you hold the idea that love is unconditional for every human being, it's unconditional. I know that one eats you guys up. I know that one's hard for you to swallow. It's hard for all of us to swallow. Accept. Is there anything wrong with grieving? Is there anything wrong with being selfish? Yes, you don't want to go around being selfish, but is there anything broken about you? No. When I do my innovative best in creative ventures, immediately I am hit with friends, family whom I've seen demonically possessed to control and manipulate me. I tend to shut down. This is why I say creativity is spiritual. Joel brings up an excellent point. Joel's been part of my community for ages. God is the creator. Listen to me very carefully. Everybody, God is the creator. And you are creative. That means that your creativity is an umbilical back to the divine. That your creativity is your godliness. That your purpose, which is to be creative in the same way that a bird's purpose is to fly, a fish's purpose is to swim. Your purpose is to create. And it is to be in service of God, which is it's hard for some people to swallow and accept. And it takes time, and we're granted time. It's okay that it takes time. It's okay that you don't want to do that. Bend the knee to God. It's okay. You're allowed to not for a while until you know better. But if our art is here to serve as a technology of making God and his unconditional love accessible to other people, there's going to be things that come for you that convince you to stop. Oh, I'm not good enough. I can't. Oh, that thing that happened to me in my past is a reason why I can't do it. I'm not good enough. I'm grieving too much. I'm not smart enough. I don't have enough money. Anything that gets you to stop doing your art, doing your godliness, connecting to the creator is demonic. And this is not hyperbole. This is not a truism. This is well researched stuff, well documented spiritual understanding of the creative process. Open up any spiritual text, the Yoga Sutras, the Bhagavad Gita, the Interior Castle, the Dark Night of the Soul, any spiritual text, the Bible, the Gospels, the Book of Genesis, whatever, with a creative question in mind. If you open up Genesis, you're going to get answers immediately. In the beginning, God created and saw that it was good. That's the first thing in there. This is why that's why I speak with the conviction that I do, that some people have commented on. Why I'm so animated, because I'm not here to help you fear of being seen. I don't get it. That's not real. The reason you don't want to do your work is because we have enemies in the cosmos. That your purpose is to make people see that God's love is unconditional. Art is a technology. How else would you feel comforted from your heartbreak if not through that poem that you read, through that Olivia Dean song, through that Adele song? How else would you feel? How else are you be like, oh man, yeah, that happened to me. Ooh, that song is about me. Oh my God, how'd she know that about me? That's God's unconditional love. The conviction that I have comes from God. And that creativity is an orientation, is a spiritual endeavor. For those of you who feel stuck in your creative process, I would wager that you might also feel stuck in some capacity in your spiritual pursuits, or that at some point your spirituality became manifesting or settling your nervous system, or just meditating 10 times a day, or reading astrology. Nothing wrong with any of that stuff. That stuff is all fantastic. But is your individual relationship with God the Creator alive? Is there a relationship at all? Is it a two-way street, not just you sitting down to meditate? Meditation and prayer are two different things. Meditation is essential, but prayer and meditation are two different things. Prayer is a technology, just like art is a technology. Prayer is a technology of communion, of communication. It's one of the most powerful technologies that a human being has from the supernatural perspective. We think it's the fucking internet. What the fuck is the internet? What the fuck is a telescope when I could just pray and get what I need at a divine timing? If your creative process is stuck, are you asking the source? Are you asking the architect of the universe what's next? The one who designed it all in the first place, the one who is incredibly proficient at design and creation, the creator, capital C. I'm not a capital C creator. I'm just out here. Yeah, prayer is, hey God, I just need to go straight. I can't wait for the tarot. I can't wait for this nonsense anymore. I can't wait for it to unfold. I need to talk now. And he's like, fantastic. Great. What's up? For me, channeling is one of these modern new age words that is beneath the dignity of the thing that I'm talking about for me. I use my words very carefully. I don't mean channeling as synonymous with anything that I'm saying. I'm using the word prayer explicitly for what it is and what it might connotate in people, which is maybe a little challenging. Not channeling. It is a very specific type of communication. And it's the most direct. It's not experiential. It's not phenomenological like channeling is. Like, oh, it's listening. It's someone talking to you, not through you, to you, live. Prayer also takes time. It's a technology that develops in stages. All of this, the sacred text will tell you that. The sacred text will tell you that. So you start in prayer, not knowing, not trusting that it works, you're just doing it. And then it began because the technology is two ways. It's a fitness. You do it for a while, and then at some point, you get a little bit more of the technology. And then more of the technology. Oh, it's a technology, guys. It's a super technology. It's incredibly advanced technology that almost is at the level of mystery, according to our capacity to understand. There's this weird sluggishness. Move your body. Open. If you know what you need to do, but you feel sluggish, bring your body along. You cannot. This book, I recommend this book. Like I'm blue in the face. Move your body with you. Bring your body. If you're sluggishness, that means that that your creativity is not chased or pursued. Creativity is hosted by the body. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay. So creativity is like a service for others. Creativity is how human beings serve others. It is how. It's not like service. It is service. It's not like a service. The most sophisticated manner in which we can serve others is creativity. Creativity is simply talent is wherever you feel like you have God in your bones. Whatever makes you a little bit advanced. If the rest of you is a piece of shit, there's those one or two things that you're like, man, I'm a little bit better at that than I am at. I can't communicate in relationships or manage to save money, but I can sing. Where'd I get that from? That's weird. You guys think talent is this thing that makes you something that gives you something you can monetize or makes you eligible for more exclusive experiences, qualifies you to be in more exclusive rooms. Talent is godliness. Where the fuck did you get that capacity to write? Where did you get that interest in strawberries? Out of nowhere. You're an idiot in every other aspect of your life, except in that one thing. That's your talent. Doesn't matter what it is. Talent is a technology. It's how you feel God, and it's where you feel God in your bones. The objective of the human life is to serve, to help each other through this life. The final form of a Pokemon of Charmander is Charizard or whatever. Maybe it's the whatever opposite. The final form of a human is to be an elder that looks back down on this at the community, at the village, and be like, okay, how can I help? That's what we're evolving into. We don't know that because a lot of our parents failed that assignment. Most of the people who are in charge really failed it. So we've lost that tradition of growing into an elder, and the way that we've lost it maybe in the last 200 years of the species, but the hundreds of thousands of years before that, it was locked in, it was nailed. It was a priority in the way that making money is now a priority. So it's not like service, it is service. It's the most sophisticated manner of service, which is to turn your experience and your emotional experience with life and to feel something invisible, which is what we call inspiration. You feel and hear, receive this perfect idea about what you want to create. I want to create a book that's about this. I want to paint something that I think kind of feels and looks like this. And then you tinker with it to the best of your capacity to make what is invisible inspired, visible. The result is art. Okay, deluxe skater. Without knowing more about your work, my question is, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? To help you kind of break through, I would need probably some one-on-one time with you. But what's wrong with that? What's wrong with what you said? I'm taking on a role. My this is a performance. This is a role. Everything I am online. I have 150,000 followers between my platforms. It's not a ton compared to what's out there, but it's more than I ever expected by a mile. That's a performance. It's curated. An artist has a writer doesn't write how they speak. A memoir will not be penned in the same way that if one author writes a memoir, it'll be a completely different narrative voice than it will be if they wrote an autobiography. Completely different voice than if they gave an interview, on a podcast. What's wrong with having a different voice? What's wrong with that? Joshua 73 says, I feel like I'm unconsciously blocking myself with self-sabotage. I know my art is good, but I have a level of self-hate. What in yourself do you hate? You have to own what it is. You can't just get rid of the feeling of self-hate. You have to look. What is it? What is it? What am I so ashamed of? Sit with it. And then ask yourself, are you the only person on earth who hates themselves? No, everybody hates themselves in some way. Anyone who's like, yeah, I totally love myself for all reasons. And no, they're lying. Life is hard. That's what I'm saying. If anyone, you can do this right now. If you're on your computer, go back and look at the chat lovingly. Go back and look at the chat and look at the shame inside the questions and see if your pattern recognition sees what mine sees. Not that you're doing anything wrong. But, oh, I hate myself. Why am I doing this wrong? I feel like I'm blocked. I'm not doing it right. Every question, you're assuming that it's not going right. Because we've been on the internet and all you see is people's perfectly published content, and it's only like that because people are trying to sell you something. I'm sorry if I can't get to all your questions. By the way, a shameless plug. This work is my full-time job, and the apps that I'm on pay me, but they pay me modestly. If you can help me with like and a subscribe, that's great. If you want to become a paid subscriber, that would really help my work a lot. I left a very lucrative job in finance to do this calling full-time, which was very scary. So any support that you can lend in some way, it really does help. There's one tier that I launched where it prioritizes questions in the chat, and there's some other benefits. And then there's another benefit that has another tier that has bonus content, study guides for, if you really like my videos and you want to know more about the videos and you want to go into study guides and stuff like that. Journal prompts and reflection is a huge component of my work inside of my classroom that I have online, my virtual classroom, and all my workshops and courses and stuff like that. The journal prompts are probably where the bulk of the breakthrough work happens when I work with clients. And so, yeah, it would help me a lot. Do you have general advice when someone procrastinates on their art? The more I love my art, the stronger the procrastination is. Why? General advice when someone procrastinates. Depends on the person. Listen, I don't have general advice. I can try. General advice. Something that the villain challenge. I'm in the middle. I just started the villain challenge, which is like my 75 hard for creativity. Something that we're interrogating around procrastination is the idea of, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Brainless, that means a lot to me. That's my first online donation. Thank you. Questions about procrastination. something that we're dealing with in the villain challenge is this idea of ambivalence. That again, that a mature artist, after a certain ripening, in the same way that a caterpillar ripens into a butterfly, a human being has to ripen into a very specific type of artist. Procrastination is oftentimes due to the fact that we're thinking about ourselves. I don't want to do it. It's hard. I'm scared. But the gas that you need in your tank. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, guys. The that the gas think of yourself when you ripen into a butterfly. Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh, I'm so humbled by this. Thank you. That think about yourselves in this creative maturity process, this coming of age process that I talk a lot about on my page. As you've went from being like a 1986 Buick LeSabre, which is my first car, to being a brand new 2027 Rolls Royce. Now you need, when you upgrade into that butterfly, into that Rolls Royce, you need different gas in your tank, or else it's not going to work. The gas that you need is to think about other people. Who am I here to serve? I will tell you that my desire to procrastinate has not gone anywhere. And in fact, the older I get, the harder the louder that pull to procrastinate becomes. Oh my gosh, thank you, Alvin. I'm tired. Comments on the internet are rough. I have other things that I want to do. I have overcome the doubts from 20 years ago, but now I have new doubts and they're great. They're higher stakes. You don't just overcome that one fear. You overcome one and you get another one. For sure. And it's completely different. But what does get me out of bed? What overcomes as a technology my own tendency for selfishness, for fear, for doubt, all these things that are demonic, not metaphorically demonic. Not metaphorically demonic. Literally. What overcomes, what supersedes, eclipses my own desires, tendencies to fall into selfishness, to self doubt, into procrastination, whatever it is? It's the unconditional love for other people. Connect with other people. The reason I'm able to get up and do this is because I know that one of you needs to hear what God gave me to say. I know you need it. That overrides a lot because that's the technology. That's the technology of how we help each other, how we become connected. I'm sensitive. I've gone through something. I'm in pain, but oh, someone else has too. And if I help them and I give selflessly to them, this is what in the Christian tradition is called being a disciple. You guys think this spiritual stuff is just like, I don't know what the internet has made you think spirituality is. I have no idea. That people will much easier believe that people had a life-changing experience when they went to go see when they did ayahuasca before they will have believe someone who says they have a life-changing experience in prayer. When prayer is the most sophisticated spiritual technology that the human being has. That this spiritual stuff is real and it belongs as a centerpiece in your creativity. I'm not here to evangelize in any particular tradition. That's none of my business. How do I pray? Directly? In the same way that I'm talking to you, dear God, hey, to me, maybe it's not formal. Maybe I don't start it with a dear God and get it all started like that. I'm Catholic, so sometimes I do the Catholic prayers, and sometimes I pray the rosary. Sometimes I pray the litany of the liturgy of the hours. Sometimes I petition the saints, petition Mary to intercede my prayers and magnify my prayers for me. Most of the time, however, I'm just talking like you, like, man, help me with this. Conversational. It's easy. But I would wager that if you're new to prayer and you want to challenge your intention with prayer, let it be a challenge. Let it be something different. So a lot of people, there's 1,000 countless ways to pray. You can pray through writing, you can pray through walking, photography, but if it's something that you're struggling to do, let it be different and use your words out loud. And when you do it for the first time, you're going to feel cringe. You're going to feel like one of those cringy megachurch people. Do it anyway. Say how you feel. Man, I'm doing this. I don't even know if it works. I'm trying to try to pray. I don't believe that it works. I've been traumatized by the church. I don't know if you're real. I kind of am upset with you, confused about why all these bad things are happening, but here's what's on my heart anyway. I'm going to try because this girl on the internet told me to try. So I'm going to try it. And then your attention span's going to take something over and then within 30 seconds, and then you're done. Thank you so much. I'm not a prophet. Oh, the prophet, the book, yeah. What do you mean targeted 47 Libra? Thank you so much for the gifts, guys. It really means a lot to me. You can pray as if you've already received because you have. Your prayer has already been heard. By the way, your prayer is already known and answered. The deficit, however, is your belief in that and your willingness to participate in that technology. That's the only deficit. That it's a two-way communication, that your prayer has already been heard. And now you have to get up there and be like, okay, let me listen. Let me establish the connection. Let me learn how to do it. Let me attune myself, my body, my faculties to that very specialized technology of prayer. Very specialized. How do you retain momentum? Burnout is my biggest setback. I keep up physically, like you said, but I feel energy drained beyond from expressing my creativity. I experienced this too. Here's what I have to say. I said this at the beginning of the live, and it's worth repeating. I'll repeat it a lot because it's a big pillar of my work. There's this new theme, this new thesis that I'm developing for my body of work. It's called Body of Work, which is all about the body's relationship to creativity. That many of us, that the thing that I repeat is that creativity is not chased or pursued, that creativity is hosted. That a lot of us think that creativity is something, that inspiration, it's like this thing, this rush that feels fantastic, and then we get ravenous when we're inside of it. But I would wager, having surveyed a lot of the stuff that I read, that that rush is more fear-based than we think it is. We think we're grateful to feel the inspiration. We're grateful to be able to say that we've arrived at our place in our lives where we finally feel inspiration. We identify as being an artist. Maybe for the first time in 30 years, you finally identify that way. That's hard work. But then now we're there and we just chase it and we rush and we want it and it feels so good. It's pursuing creativity as if it's a high. It's as if it's a drug. As if it's not my nature. As if creativity and being creative is not as germane to my beingness as breathing. Like breathing. Creativity is not chased. Creativity is hosted. The burnout for me happens because I've been pursuing creativity with this idea that it's this feeling external to me, myself, that I have to chase, earn, hold, capture, earn. But that creativity is hosted in the body, settling the body, creating what the scriptures and all traditions call that the body, refer to the body oftentimes as a temple. In the same way that a temple, a cathedral, is not only the location of hosting the indwelling of a higher being, the body is not only a location, it's a technology of hosting. That the body has the capacity to help your creative capacity to receive the idea and to manage the execution. That the crash comes from orienting yourself towards creativity as if it needs to be chased or earned, and that you're not already there. That I went on this wellness retreat and I was expecting to do intense samurai level body work, hard, long stretches of Pilates, 2-hour meditation, etc. But I found that we did 5-minute meditations. We had a whole hour session. We were just working on the joints of our bones, just doing little shit like this. Doing neural work where you just follow our eyes around our fingers like this. Huge opening to my creative capacity. Massive. Tending to the body. I said this earlier, I don't know if you were here, but as my first paid member, thank you. I'll repeat it gladly. Or among the first, maybe 1 or 2 more before you. That this practitioner where I did this wellness retreat, I think I might have her on my podcast, or I'll record something and turn it into a podcast. But this practitioner that I go to for body work now, she was telling us about the joints, that the joints contain receptors. Just the joints. The joints have receptors that are just explicitly designed to signal to our bodies. The body is always asking the question, am I safe? The nervous system is always asking the question, am I safe? Every minute of every second of every minute of every day. Am I safe? 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 That's the nervous system's function. Stiff joints indicate that those receptors are blocked, which makes it harder for you to tell yourself that you're safe. Doing joint work increases your capacity to signal to the body that you're safe. So safe to slow down, safe to edit, safe to put yourself out there, safe to be seen, safe to revise a really bad draft, safe to try something new. Not quite the artist statement video. Do you personally think that there's a right time to sleep when it comes to the most out of when it comes to get the most out of your creativity? Can I ask a question? Why are you trying to get the most out of your creativity? What do you mean get the most? It's already maximal. What do you mean get the most? That's what I'm saying. You guys got to chill. But to answer your question, I'm going to answer it a difficult way first. The difficult way is I cannot tell you the answer to that. That your relationship to creativity is deeply personal. It's between you and God. I really mean that. I cannot tell you at all what your sleep schedule should be. I think that you do need to be rested. But I know that creative maturity is about discovering what your process is and understanding that it changes, that it happens in cycles and stages, that it's input dependent. There's some things when the rent is due, when I'm about to start a villain challenge, the admin that I need to do to get a villain challenge started is off the moon. It's over the moon. I don't know how I've managed to do it. It's hard. That means I'm going to sleep a little less because I got shit to do. All of it requires my creativity, in addition to my admin skills and my logistical skills and stuff like that. There are times when as a writer, I get and tinker with the new ideas in the winter when it's quiet. I really receive when it's quiet in the winter, when nobody's inviting me to a fucking block party and shit, and then music isn't loud in the streets of Brooklyn where I live. But so my sleep schedule changes, my creative process changes in cycles. But you do need to be rested. That much I'll say. If one could work into the night, into the art, is that wise? You need to be rested. And ask yourself, why are you working into the night? Because that's what the art needs, or because that's what you think you need to do in order to be worthy? To rush and get it done? Are you rushing? Are you working through the night to get it done because you're unsatisfied with the draft that it is, because you think that if you publish a bad draft that you're going to be punished or mocked? How many people do you think have YouTube accounts in the world? Let's call it 200. Let's say it's 500 million people have YouTube accounts. Let's just call it a number. How many people are here right now? 65. How many people subscribed since I've been here? I don't know exactly how it works, but maybe 2 or 3, maybe more than that. I don't know. I'm still learning how to read the dashboard. There's 65 people on here now. If I post a bad draft, there's mistakes all up and throughout all my content. Some of you see it, some of you don't. Most of you don't care. So why are you working through the night to get it right? Sometimes you do need to be, you need to stick the landing in terms of a technical execution. You do. But asking yourselves, why am I racing right now? Why? If the love is unconditional, why am I racing? Prayer can do everything. But movement is a critical part of your spiritual practice. That's what every spiritual tradition says. That's why yoga said, hey, move. That's why the Yoga Sutras exist. Jesus Christ himself was quite literally the body. I am the way. God became flesh. The body is the most important aspect of spirituality. The heart. Anyone who believes in me and holds me in your heart, your physical heart, not your metaphorical heart. What does Jesus have to do? Why would the architect of the cosmos be over here wasting people's time talking about the metaphorical heart? That's what the internet gurus are for. Your physical heart. In here. Any ideas why I feel like I want stimulation before doing the creative work instead of get distracted from chasing stimulation instead of just doing the creative work? Why you feel like you want stimulation? I think most people want stimulation. My thesis on this is that the creative impulse, again, it comes from God. The creativity is the burning bush. Excuse me, creativity is the Big Bang. What you feel is the Big Bang. And that raw is difficult to experience. Physically, it's challenging on our body, on our cells. At the mitochondrial level, it's challenging for our bodies to hold the Big Bang. Ask a mother how she feels giving birth. It's hard. You ask a woman, you can feel, sometimes can feel the conception. Like, shit, what was that? That's how your inspiration feels. That's how your purpose feels like. But we're not used to talking about creativity within a spiritual context. So my thesis, my experience as an artist, because I too feel like I need stimulation before I sit down to write. What I actually feel first in this order is the idea. It's time. There is some timing that I cannot see or know. Oh, it's time to write. The inspiration is here. The right alignment of the planets, of the conditions. There's this right constellation, this cascade of experience. Right. You get the idea, you got the time, you can feel it, you hear the words, it just opens. That's wild. That's a wild experience physically, to the nervous system, to the bodies, to the body, to the cells, because it's godly. It's of God. God is the creator. And he said, go now. That's wild. But what we do is we want to be obedient. We understand it intuitively. Yeah, that's right. I should be doing that. But it's a little intense for us. And it brings up all the fears and all the doubts, and all the demons immediately find you and be like, don't do it. Don't follow it. Don't follow it. And you're like, okay. But you should still be obedient to that feeling a little bit. And so sometimes, at least in my experience, and also what I've read, the Hindu tradition is great about this, that the stimulant is how we microdose that Big Bang. Oh my gosh, congratulations, congratulations, brainless. I'm very great, happy for you. Yeah, I'll post it. Oh my gosh, my Linda, hey. How does one find community? Ask for it. Ask for it like an asshole. Embarrass yourself. That's what you have to do. How does one find community? And also identify the parts in your who are you? Who are you asking for community? What kind of community do you want? Do you know? Is it spelled out? Is it written down? Have you practiced about it? Have you meditated? Do you know explicitly? Yes, you have the longing. I need community. But can you, what is it? What do I need? I need an embrace. I need friends. I need people who feel this way. What's your intention? What's the purpose of your life? It's the same way I answer a question, how do I find a mentor? You need to be clear about the help that you need and who are you? A mentor is almost, it's almost like it's like a entry level peer. First, it's like a parent who is just here to, his responsibility it is to teach you. That's their responsibility. It's completely selfless. It's supposed to be. But a mentor is like, you're kind of on what I'm on, and I'm going to help you. So you have to identify, both as in finding a mentor and finding community. If you want to find people who you belong to, who the fuck are you? If you want to find a mentor to help you, what aspect of you do you need help with? You want someone to show you the ropes? I'm sorry, you're not in kindergarten anymore. If you want to reach out to a mentor, find some people who are locked into the same mission as you. Same mission as you in some way. Study their work and express to them, hey, I'm really aligned. I could use this explicit help. What do you say? And then they might ignore you or say no, and you have to take that L on the chin and then keep going. Same as with community. But Audre Lorde says something very specific about community and being an artist at the same time, that an artist uses their art to find community. Put your work into the world, and then people will gather around it. And then after they gather around it, they will realize that they're a community. How to find community? Start community. Start it. That's what I've done. How to not get tired when you locked in publicly on who you want to find and no one aligns. How to not get tired? I can't answer that question because you're going to get tired. What do you mean how to not get tired when you locked in publicly on who you want to find and no one aligns? Only come to extract. Reassess what you're doing wrong and keep going. And it's okay to get tired. People coming to extract from you is an exhausting experience. So there's nothing wrong with getting tired. If you're not getting tired from people extracting you, that's a little strange to me. Like, damn, that really took the wind out of me. I need to take a little break for a second. What's wrong with getting tired from being exploited? Believe in what? Believe in what, Marlon? You got to be more specific than that. I need to hear sincerity. I need to be around people who believe in something, but believe in what? What do you need to believe in? What do you believe in? A lot of people believe in everything. People believe in, some people believe in nothing. Some people believe in evil. Some people believe in being PDF files. Some people believe in genocide. What do you believe in? Start there. Yeah, thank you, 100 South. What is a gift? Is it that's so generous of you? Sometimes when the energy isn't being committed to digestion, there's more available for thought. Does liminality end when things are figured out inside, or does the creating the work inside us pull us out? Or is that the same thing? Does liminality end when things figured out? Liminality ends when you start writing your story instead of following the leader. You get yourself out of liminality. Entering liminality is not your decision. Getting out is yours. It ends when you say it ends, which is the hardest, which is why it's so hard. You will have nothing figured out, so don't expect to have anything figured out. How do you regain faith in people How do you regain faith in people such that you can feel love and creative inspiration in your day to day without inhibitions and feelings of unsafety? How to regain faith in people? This, I don't know exactly what you're asking. And I do understand what you're asking, but it seems like a complex set of conundrums. But just taking it at face value and kind of using the force a little bit to answer. How do you regain faith in people such that you can feel love and creative inspiration in your day to day without in it? You need to put some skin in the game. Forgive. Forgiveness is a technology. Forgive. Forgive who hurt you. Hey, man, I forgive you. Not like, oh, yeah, I'm cool with it. Not like, oh, hey, I don't care anymore. But forgiveness as a technology, not as this metaphor for getting over it. That's not what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is a supernatural virtue. I forgive you. And then you love first. So, as an artist, how to regain faith in people? Put in the reps. You put your art out there again. Just put it out. Get out there. Do it again. Try it again. Man, some people disappointed you. Get out there anyway. And let somebody find the work and prove to you that people are good. Let yourself, guys, all of the answers to all of your questions. It's this fear. Oh, I can't create because I don't like people. I can't create because I'm in this. I don't have this. I can't create because I have the wrong vibe. I don't understand this. Do it. You're not broken. Oh, I don't trust people. There's that story. Am I saying you're making up the things that you've been through? No, I'm not trying to gaslight you at all, but I'm saying you are bigger than that. And this isn't a moral judgment. This is not a moral assessment. This is a physiological, technical, spiritual assessment. Being hurt by people is not all of who you are. There's some things that are true, but there are things that are more true. Your openness happens after you put yourself out there. I'm working on being open. Put yourself out there first. It's the order. Everyone's order of operation is wrong. I need to feel confident first. I need to let the creative process do what it's supposed to do, which is to help you feel safe. It's a technology of feeling safe. It's a technology of experiencing unconditional love. Put your body into that process. Put your ass out there. Put your bad poetry out there. Put your basic little Substack essay out there. And then see what happens. I have 150,000 followers now, but I remember when I started and I didn't have one. I didn't have one. And the messages of now, what you hear is a version of what it was then. I didn't feel confident when I started. Audre Lorde says, I started out like everyone starts out, like a coward. What's my favorite food? Mexican food. My favorite fruit is mango and pineapple. Don't hype yourself up to post it. You don't need to post it. You can be unhyped. You can be defeated and post it. What it needs to get done is post. I'm trying to hype myself. Post it. If you go, I posted something today. I bet you if you go look at it, you'll see 500 typos. Post it. Post it. I gotta hype myself up. All you gotta do is click. You don't have to hype. You have to click. What's gonna happen? I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen. Statistically speaking, this is gonna be hard to hear. Please hear it lovingly, though. You know me. Statistically speaking, what's gonna happen? No one's gonna read it. Statistically speaking, no one's gonna read it. And you know what's gonna happen after that? You're gonna be relieved. Oh my God, it's not a big deal. I posted it. Who cares? Nobody read it. Even my most viewed video on YouTube has 35,000 views. Most of those people who viewed it forgot about it. People have paid me money to be in my courses. Most of those people didn't finish the course because they got busy or whatever, or they took it once and they didn't repeat it. You got to just keep going. Waiting to feel infatuated with yourself before you start your work has nothing to do with the human experience. Waiting, if you think confidence is about being infatuated with yourself, you don't get it. Thank you. Yeah, with the real questions. Can you speak about being neurodivergent and neurotypical society with the sheer mismatch, self-advocacy, and things like this? Yeah, I'm going to speak very strongly about this. I'm going to speak very strongly worded. I'm a little chill right now, but if you've been in some of my workshops, you know that I get a lot more animated. This is one of the questions that gets me going. Can you talk about being neurodivergent and neurotypical society with sheer mismatch? I don't know how you identify. So this is not, I'm not, what I'm about to say has nothing to do with you, but what I feel generally. If you can't feel the love that I have for you, that means I need to work a little harder, but please know that I care about all of you and your work more than you realize. That neurodivergent is a term that has become this disability. It's only a disability because our world does not accommodate you. But neurodivergence is being advanced. I remember this one of my coworkers, she had dyslexia. And she apologized constantly for her dyslexia because that's what we're used to doing. Like the kids who have dyslexia and whatever learning disability, they go into the special class and we think that they're slower because we can't accommodate them because they don't read like us. But the way that the majority of the people read, study, comprehend is remedial. Dyslexic people read in circles. We read in a line. They read in a circle. A three-dimensional circle, by the way. They read it in a three-dimensional picture. But a picture is slower and more remedial than how people with dyslexia see the world. It's instantaneous. They can actually feel what we have to read. So she apologized all the time for being dyslexic. I'm like, why? You're going faster than me. I should be apologizing to you. So can I talk about being neurodivergent? If you don't see it as a flex, now the world doesn't accommodate you, then that's hard and not fair. But as long as the inquiry is not about feeling, it's not steeped in shame about being neurodivergent. I'm not assuming that's what it is, but that's how a lot of people talk about being neurodivergent. Or they talk about being neurodivergent like it's a disease, like it's a congenital disease, like you have a broken leg. Oh, I'm autistic and I have ADHD. Okay, that's great. That's fantastic. You got lucky. What if you don't have a desire to share? Can creativity be a personal solve? Yeah. Yes, it can. I would just say that you don't have a desire to share yet. The desiring to really mature into someone in a couple of different planes, kind of in the disposition that your work is for other people, that comes later in life. And then also all of your different creative modalities, all your different talents, all your different verticals, if you will, they're ready to be shared at different times. And so if you're at the stage of just using it to understand and soothe yourself, that's okay. But I would wager that you're not done cooking. Why else would you be given this experience and be sitting in the pressure cooker of trying to make sense of it, if only for yourself? And then I would ask you as a final question, are you really happy not sharing it? Is there no desire not to share it? Really? Truly? Or are we afraid? Or are we just not there yet? I need a little time to cook. I'm just dealing with it right now. I just need to be, I need to stabilize myself a little bit. It's a little therapeutic. And to what extent are we using art to be therapeutic? If we're not broken, you're not broken. You're not broken. So yes, therapeutic, but to a point. That what if the greater salve is sharing it? So I hope by now, if you've been in this chat, you can see a pattern emerging, at least the pattern that I could see, and I'm trying to share it with you. Everyone has a question. My fear. I have this fear. I have a fear of being judged. I have a fear of connecting with people. I have a fear of being seen. I have a fear. From my perspective, it's all the same. It's the same formula. I have a fear of this. And then whatever you think you're afraid of, you think it's real. Not that I'm not trying to gaslight you. How you feel is valid. But you think what my point is that we listen to fear as if it's wisdom. I have a fear of being seen. And so we think that being seen is bad, wrong, scary. Or that carrying the fear means that we're broken, defective, sick, not ready. But what if the most healthy artist in the world has a fear of being seen, a fear of being judged? What if the fear of being judged is an unavoidable aspect of the creative process? Because the fear of being judged is how someone who cannot tell the future, who cannot read the future, predict the future accurately, which is a human being. We can't do that. What if that's just how we experience and associate the sensation of vulnerability. Vulnerability is a technology of being malleable, porous. Vulnerability is what allows us to connect with other people. So we have a fear of being judged, fear of being seen, fear of being perceived. Everyone talks about those things like they're different, like they're congenital diseases. But you have fear of being judged. What if you just feel vulnerable because you're about to share? And so what if you don't have a question? How do I deal with the fear of being judged because of past experiences? Which puts us on this fucking goose chase of Googling ourselves to death and thinking that we're broken. But what if it's not a question at all? This person is asking, how do I deal with the fear of being judged because of past experiences? What if it's not a question at all? And what if it's just a statement that really wants to be expressed? I'm about to leap again, and I'm afraid I'm going to be judged. What if the question is just a way to protect you and prevent you from just being honest with how it feels to be an artist? Which means I'm about to stand on that stage. I'm going to stand in the spotlight, and I'm going to feel every inch of it the whole time. And it's unpleasant. It makes me feel out of way. But let me tell you, I can tell you right now, guys, you have a fear of being judged? I promise you, guaranteed, you will be judged harshly, unavoidable, inevitable. But guess what? You're supposed to be. We do not use art to be validated. We do not use our talents to validate ourselves. How selfish is that? How remedial is that? God gave me the instrument of singing, of talking, whatever. God gave me that gift. And I'm going to use that gift to feel okay. I'm going to use that gift to funnel validation. Do I belong? Look at my singing video. Am I a good singer? No, God said I was a good singer because he gave me the voice. We established that when I was 3 years old. Whatever your talent is was established at 2 or 3 years old. Stop lying to yourself. You know that that's true. It was established a long time ago. And so the reason that you're stuck, I would wager, is that you're waiting. You're actually using your gifts to validate yourself, but that's not what they're for. It's like using a car to swim. That's not what it's for. We use our gifts not to validate ourselves. We use our gifts to validate other people. If you were hell-bent on validating other people, regardless of what happened to you in the past, would you care about being judged as much? No, it's a technology. Use what God gave you, your gift. Your gift, and using it is going to help you mitigate the past experience of judgment. It's powerful, but also, guys, let's touch grass a little bit. It's not powerful. It's this should be common sense. I'm not a guru. I'm not a mystic. I'm not incredibly smart. Did Adele write that devastating album about heartbreak so that 50 million people could understand her heartbreak? Or did she write that album because she wanted 50 million people to understand their heartbreak? What helped her? What of those two is more powerful of an intention? Which one of those two intentions is going to help you get out of bed? It's going to help you finish the album. It's going to help you find the right word, find the right producer. This is in every spiritual text. Love yours. I give you a new commandment. Love your neighbor. Y'all think that what is that? And love, it's not a truism. Oh yeah, we should love. No, it's not moral. It's not moral assignment. It's not moral instruction, loving your neighbor. It's technology. It's natural. It's a natural law in the same way that gravity is a natural law, that thermodynamics is a law. Love is a law of the cosmos. Love your neighbor. Society tries to beat you out of these things. These spaces are like a deep breath. Yeah, not on my watch. Any sources on presenting more competently, professionally? I'm not that guy. That's a different. I said that's not my. I mean, presenting more confidently. From my perspective, settle your nervous system, and you'll be the most magnetic person in the room, and it's contagious. But presenting as more competent and professional is not my area of expertise. Just get into your body. That being deeply embodied, connected to your breath, connect settled nervous system, deeply aware of your movement, which you have cultivated, is the most powerful communicator that a human being has. That's my advice. Do Tai Chi before you enter the room. When, how did you discover your goal to have people feel as though you knew them, as if you knew them? Connecting with your audience seems to be your gift. When did I know? I heard it, and I heard it in when I was 33, so 5 years ago, middle of the pandemic. I received it, but it was a long process of putting clues together before that, because I didn't feel seen. You said that I have a gift of connecting. I didn't feel like I had connection. And so that feeling of craving connection was not my need for connection only. It was because I'm not the only person on earth who needs connection. If I am given this deep, bone deep desire for connection, that means that other people are, which is a clue that your deep desires are not just this desire that you have because you're broken or because somebody neglected you and that you're damaged or you're traumatized. And so now you have this need. No, in the perfectly loving cosmos that is intelligently designed, aesthetically designed, with a point and a pattern and a plan and a purpose, that everything that I'm feeling and craving must point to other people. So if you're craving love, maybe you're supposed to love really well. If you're craving comfort, maybe you know how to comfort. And that's what you're supposed to do. Because who else is going to comfort well except for a person who knows exactly what it feels like when you don't have it? Who knows how to be a good listener other than the person who's never been listened to? If you make it to the other side of life, soulfully, spiritually entering your service era, the person who feels hurt and then doesn't change are the people who hurt us. We would call those people narcissists. Couldn't quite stop thinking about themselves. Just couldn't get over it. When will you be when will you turn into someone that the younger generations can rely on? When will you take that step? You know what I mean? When will you take that step? Because the way that we treat our art, any indication of how we feel about our art, I don't know you personally, but just reading some of the comments, taking it face value. I don't know you're none of you are bad people. I'm just trying to make a point. What about this? My point, I don't want to leap out there. I don't want to serve people because I'm afraid of being hurt or I'm afraid of connection. Think about that in person. A child asks you for help. Hey, I need help. Imagine that. Imagine in 20 years, some 16-year-old finds you and it's like, hey, I got my heart broken. I need help. And you're like, sorry, I don't want to tell you right now because I have a fear of connection and being judged for what I'm about to say. That sounds like the narcissistic parents who abused us, doesn't it? A little bit. There's something in there, not to call you a narcissist, but the narcissist is a strong word and a very specific word. What I mean is selfish, self-interested, that we are at our best in terms of our functioning when we don't think about ourselves. Everybody agrees on that. Every tradition, psychiatrist, psychologist, everybody agrees on that. Every spiritual tradition. I want to be someone who is practiced and available when the younger generation start asking me for help, because I'm 40 right now. My youth is squarely behind me. But one day I'm going to be 60 by God's grace. And the younger generations are going to need help. And if I am not practiced and sitting my ass down, taking a deep breath and just trying to listen and help and support somebody, be it whether it's through my art or through my capacity to hold space in a conversation, to go show up where I think people might need help. If I don't do that, we're going to be just as guilty as the people that are running the show now. Does that make sense? Is fear of rejection selfish? No, fear of rejection is, again, none of this is moral judgment. I'm assessing. What I'm assessing is not your morality. I'm not judging your morality and who you are as a person. I'm trying to draw attention to the disposition of yourself as a functioning member of the species. If I say that someone's being selfish, it's the same as me saying your car needs an oil change. I'm not judging you. I'm not saying I don't like your car. I'm saying you need an oil change. It's time for an oil change. It's mechanical. Is a fear of rejection selfish? A fear of rejection is a feeling that being rejected is shameful. And so you think that being rejected is bad. It's difficult, but is it bad and is it wrong? Is it wrong? Am I a bad person? Am I wrong? Is there something defective about me if I've been rejected? Is there something defective? It's a fear of being heartbroken. There's something wrong with me if I get heartbroken again. Done it wrong. Yes, it hurts and you need a little time. But a fear of rejection is an assumption that what if you get rejected and it teaches you a whole lot? What if that rejection points you in the right direction? What if you get rejected, you feel it for 30 seconds and then you're over it? You never know. Assuming that all this shit that I'm reading C.S. Lewis right now, Joel, that's amazing. What was I like as a kid? It was weird. I liked Indiana Jones and archaeology and Renaissance art, and I was like a little girl Indiana Jones as a kid. All right, guys. I'm going to go. Last chance to subscribe. If you got it in you, it would mean a lot. But I don't know how regular I'm going to do these. I'm trying to do them often. Thank you again, guys. May the force be with you.